Hey there, my name is Bill Marion and this is A Nose for Life. In this video, I'm going to be sharing 10 facts about elk in the Southern Appalachian Mountains. Now, I didn't come up with this information all by myself. Google was a big help and I left links in the description. The scenery in this video is amazing, so stick around until the very end. Now go ahead, relax, kick your shoes off and stay a while, hit that like button, and let's get started. Here are 10 facts about elk in the Southern Appalachian Mountains. Number 10. Appalachian Mountains elk. Hundreds of years ago, giant deer flourished all over the North American continent, including the Appalachian Mountains. The Cherokee Indians call elk Wapiti, which means giant deer, and that works because elk look a lot like giant deer. A full-grown elk weighs as much as 700 pounds, making elk the largest deer species. By the late 1700s, elk were considered extinct in North Carolina and highly endangered across North America. By the 1900s, conservation groups feared that the entire species would go extinct. Number 9. The Elk Program. In 1865, the last remaining elk native to Tennessee was killed. In the Allegheny Mountains, elk held on a little longer, to the late 1890s. But by the 20th century, East Coast elk were considered extinct. In the middle of the 20th century, in the plains of Kansas, herds of elk that were thought to be extinct began flourishing. Many officials believed, and still believe, that elk could be brought back into prominence all over the U.S. One such program began in 2001. The National Park Service began a project to reintroduce elk to the Cataloochee Valley in Great Smoky Mountains National Park. The National Park Service reintroduced 25 elk to that area and then added another 27 elk in 2002. Since then, the elk population has grown, and experts are cautiously optimistic about the increasing numbers. Number 8. Why are elk so important? The presence of elk make plants more productive, and they help create plant diversity. Properly managed elk populations can help land managers promote biodiversity and ecosystem functioning. In the Appalachian Mountains, elk live in forest areas like other deer species. They love mountains with higher elevations during the summer, and during the winter, they migrate back down the mountains. Elk prefer open woodlands and avoid dense, unbroken forests. Elk can also be found in coniferous swamps, clear cuts, aspen hardwood forests, and coniferous hardwood forest. They are found through a wide range of elevations, typically from sea level to 10,000 feet. Number 7. The elk rut. The rut is what biologists call the elk mating season. It begins around mid-September and it lasts through late October. During this time, the Great Smoky Mountains echo with the sounds of male elk or bulls making their great bugling mating call, and with the clatter of clashing antlers as they challenge each other for superiority. This is by far the best time to spot elk in Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Following the mating season, elk calves are born between mid-May and mid-July. Number 6. Seeing elk in the Smokies. While black bears get almost all the attention in the Smoky Mountains, elk watching is becoming a fun attraction in this tourist-rich region. But it takes a little bit of knowledge to find the herd, and that's if you find it at all. If you see an elk in Great Smoky Mountains, consider yourself lucky. Elk are thriving in the Smokies, but they can be hard to find. Some experts claim that 150 elk roam through the Smokies, but other experts and some local landowners claim that there are 3 times that amount. Carolyn and I were spotting elk everywhere, even in some higher elevations along the Blue Ridge Parkway. Hey there, let me take just a brief moment to welcome everyone to our channel. If you're a subscriber, welcome back, and we're so thankful that you're coming back week after week to be a part of our growing community. If you're not a subscriber, I hope you're enjoying this video and that you'll decide today to subscribe to our channel and click the bell for notifications. And leave a comment. It really helps, and we try to respond to every comment. Thank you for giving our video content a chance. Number 5. It's not a moose. There are no moose in Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Just letting you know, in case you see your first elk in the wild, you'll remember not to yell,
"There's a moose!"
And here's the difference. Elk are very large, weighing about 700 pounds, but moose are gigantic, weighing about 1,300 pounds. Moose are a little darker than elk, and elk are social. They hang out in herds, while moose are more independent, preferring to roam the highlands alone. Number 4. The Elk Comeback. In 2001, Great Smoky Mountains National Park introduced 25 elk to the Cataloochee Valley from Kentucky's Land Between the Lakes National Recreation Area. Back in the 1990s, Kentucky began rebuilding the elk population as well, and that program has been pretty successful too. Then in 2002, Great Smoky Mountains National Park added another 27 elk from Elk Island National Park in Alberta, Canada. The eastern elk were the original elk found here in the Southern Appalachian Mountains. Unfortunately, the east elk are extinct. The species reintroduced into Great Smoky Mountains National Park are Manitoban elk, which are said to be smaller than eastern elk. At least that's what a lot of websites say. But some genetic work suggests that most North American elk, except for the Roosevelt elk and the little Tool elk of California, belong to the same subspecies. But apparently, that's controversial. Imagine that, making something controversial. I don't know one way or the other, and I can't figure out why I should care. Maybe you can let me know in the comments. It's elk in Great Smoky Mountains National Park. That's cool. I don't care what kind of elk they are. They're awesome. Number 3. Where can you see elk in Great Smoky Mountains National Park? The reintroduction of elk in the Smokies that began back in 2001 started around the Cataloochee Valley, but that was over 20 years ago, and they've spread out a lot since then. Sometimes you can see elk in the middle of Cherokee, North Carolina, or here, just outside of Conalefty Visitor Center, near the south entrance to Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Elk have been spotted on trails just outside Cades Cove, Tennessee. And when it comes to seeing elk in the Smokies, websites might not always give the best advice. The herd moves, and new herds are forming. My wife Carolyn spotted this amazing elk through the woods while driving 35 miles an hour. This elk was alone on top of this mountain on the Blue Ridge Parkway in North Carolina at an elevation of nearly 6,000 feet. As with most animals, your best chance of seeing elk are in the morning and evening. Like I mentioned earlier, elk are most active during the rut. So if you're planning a fall vacation, that's a great time to go to Smoky Mountains National Park to see elk. Number 2. Elk Safety. These amazing animals are fascinating, and they seem so cuddly and cute. But let me get to the point. These are wild animals, and they can hurt you. So here are some safety rules. Keep a safe distance of at least 50 yards. Number 2, if possible, stay in your vehicle while viewing the animal. Number 3, if you happen upon an elk while hiking or in the river, don't approach them. And whatever you do, don't corner them. They're wild. Treat them like you would any other wild animal, with caution. And here are some common sense rules, or don't be that guy kind of rules. Number 1, do not block traffic or pull into residential property. That's a pretty good don't be that guy rule to follow anywhere in the Smoky Mountains. Number 2, do not enter fields to view elk. Number 3, if you see elk crossing, do not interact with your car. This should be a no-brainer, but, well, people. And finally, listen to the park rangers. They know you're having a moment, but they're around these animals a lot. So do what they tell you to do. Number 1. Elk Success in Great Smoky Mountains National Park. At this very moment, more elk roam the North Carolina and Tennessee mountains than at any time over the last 200 years. But it almost didn't happen. There was a lot of resistance to the idea of bringing elk from another state to repopulate another region in another state. It was controversial, to say the least. But after the elk have been reintroduced, not only are they surviving, but they're thriving. Since 2001, elk have expanded their range from Cataloochee Valley. Smaller herds are developing too, around Balsam Mountain, Maggie Valley, and Waynesville. The project has been so successful that the Wildlife Commission approved a proposal to establish the framework for a permitted hunting season for elk. Now, you might not realize this, but managed hunting will actually help the elk population increase. So are you excited about seeing elk in Great Smoky Mountains National Park? Well, when you see your first elk in the Smokies, don't forget the safety tips I mentioned earlier and have a great time. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, please click the like and subscribe button, click the bell for notifications, and please leave a comment as it really helps our channel. If you like this video, you'll love one of these videos too. My name is Bill Marion, and this is A Nose for Life.